Hey there, my name is Derek McDaniel. So I'm going to be showing a tool today called a chord visualizer that I have built for my chorded keyboard system in particular called Adventure Keyboard. But the nice thing about this chord visualizer is that you could use it with any chorded keyboard layout to help you debug your timing and button presses and accuracy. So um, let's look real quick at what we have here. And one thing you may notice, it looks a lot like it looks a lot like musical notation, like you would see with reading sheet music. So I'm going to be describing my particular chorded keyboard system. Um, but let's look at the hardware for a second, and we can show how that maps to the visualized display. So if you have an array, this is a numpad, so because there's only 10 keys required for this chorded keyboard system, and many other chorded keyboard systems similarly have a reduced number of buttons. So because there are fewer buttons required, you can use it with a Bluetooth numpad. And I've designed my keyboard specifically to allow you to, in software, map the key input from the Bluetooth, from a physical hardware keyboard into an alternative layout, or it takes the hardware inputs and maps it to different letters that are then displayed in software. So it does all that in software in basic JavaScript. But anyway, so you're going to have 10 keys. So for example, starting with this 4 key here, I would do R, N, O, E, and then A, T, I, L. And then on the bottom, 1 is going to be space, 2 is going to be shift. So then even with this one key mapping, and you can do lots of different key mappings in my setup, in my system, even with this key mapping, there are lots of potential grips you could use. You can do this one-handed, so I could do ATILRNOE space shift. Or I could do a setup more like this, with 3 fingers on both hands. So I could do then ATILRNOE space shift. Or I could even do something like this, where I'm using all my fingers. Let's make it easier to see my presses. ATILRNOE space shift. So I guess I'm using all my fingers but my thumbs, so the regular keys, like each key is covered by a different finger, so there's less movement required, except for our space and shift key. But anyway, so let's go back here to the notation. So I don't have this keyboard plugged in, but I'm going to use my PC's keyboard. But we're going to go over the mapping. So you have, that's going to be R, N, O, E, and then A, T, I, L. Let's try that again. So R, N, wait, I'm so sorry. Let's hold down space to go through all this. So then we're going to be back to the top row, and then we have R, N, O, E, and A, T, I, L. Okay, so the bottom row is going to be red and fatter. The top row is going to be blue and narrower. And the top position here is going to be the first key left to right on the row. So you have R, N, O, E, A, T, I, L. And then space is going to be on the top, and shift is going to be on the bottom. Space, shift, space, shift. So you can actually see if we press space and R at the same time, if we press space, R, and A at the same time, it allows you to visualize the different chords you're making with your key presses simultaneously, and it looks like musical notation. So now I'm going to type a quick example sentence. So it's just going to be to space B or backspace, not to be, that is the question. Okay, so I did make some mistakes here, but we can go here. So T is going to be the second key on the top row, it's blue, and then O is going to be the third key on the bottom row, and it's red for the bottom, blue for the top, and then space here, so 2. B is pressing T and I at the same time, the second and third keys on the top row, and then E is going to be the fourth key on the bottom row. So 2 space B space, or, and you can see here I actually had an overlap where my R and the space overlap, so that would in fact not create an R and space character because this is the chorded keyboard system. This would be I guess R and space. It was page up in my system, but I think I remapped that recently. I just remapped some of the navigation keys, but in any case this would not make R and space. So this is one of the reasons why this tool is so important, because it allows you to debug the timing of your key presses and improve your accuracy. But in general I did make mistakes throughout here. Let's go down here to the third row, to this bar. So this is going to be an S chord. It involves pressing R and O at the same time. The S chord is pressing R and O at the same time. And so we can see I pressed the R button slightly before the O button, and then I released the O button slightly earlier. So this really allows you to dial in and see what you are doing at a detailed time level. So each of these bars right now is currently half a second. So a half bar would be a quarter second. A fourth of a bar is going to be eighth of a second. A 16th is, or an eighth of a bar is going to be 16th of a second. So this little difference that we see between the R and the O, that's going to be like a 1/32 of a second, or about 33 milliseconds, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, you can see very small timing things that when you want to type fast will make a difference. So now I just want to talk a little bit about expectations for my system, in particular Adventure Keyboard. It's not designed to get you full typing speed. It's designed to sort of be in between handwriting or just a normal touchscreen experience. Now obviously modern touchscreens, they have swiping and prediction, and so that will get you a better experience if you are willing to work with that. But for a lot of applications like writing code and stuff like that, or a calculator input, a scientific calculator, a coding calculator, something like that, you're going to want character level control and precision. So some of these predictive and swiping features, and they aren't going to be desired in that kind of setup. So having a keyboard that lies in somewhere in between handwriting and your full typing speed, where an average typist could get 60 words per minute, An advanced typist could get 100 to 200. So I compare this to the difference between walking, riding a bike, and driving a car. So if you're walking, i.e. handwriting, you can, or running, you could go potentially from like 3 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour. Now, handwriting, I think most people would get more than 3 words per minute. They're probably going to get like that 15 words per minute range. But in an alternative keyboard, with an alternative keyboard like this, you could get like, after learning it, you'll be in that 15 words per minute range, but you can start moving up to that 30 words per minute range. If you're very skilled and proficient, potentially you could get to that 50, 60 word per minute range. Generally, so for adventure keyboard, I am getting like 20 to 30 words per minute usually. Whereas with MessagEase, I get probably 40 or more words per minute, which is another alternative keyboard. So, but the benefit of adventure keyboard, I find because you have more buttons, more keys, it has better ergonomics. It is more comfortable to use for a long period of time. I don't like using MessagEase for more than like 5 minutes at a time. I've used it for a lot of writing, for social media, for that kind of thing, where I just want to write for a few minutes. But if I'm going to be doing a longer session, then I find even at the slower words per minute, because I have used MessagEase for like probably 5 years now, 5 or more, really, like about 5 years. But I've used MessagEase for that long. I started working on adventure keyboard just over a year ago, and it is more difficult to get the timing accurate with some of these chorded setups versus MessagEase, which involves swiping with one finger, so you never have timing issues. You can go as fast as you want. So that's why MessagEase is so fast, but the one finger can be very tiring. So that is why I would recommend learning a chorded keyboard system. Whether that is ASETNIOP, there's another open source one with 8 keys, I think, designed for one-handed typing, I saw online. So there's lots of potential uses for these alternative keyboards. And the nice thing about this tool is it will work to help you with any keyboard layout. The visualization doesn't care whether you're debugging ASETNIOP or my keyboard, or I can't remember the name now, but there's another open source, I think it's like ARTSY or something. There's another open source chorded keyboard that is designed particularly for one-handed typing. So even if you aren't interested in learning my particular keyboard setup, this tool could be useful for you to debug your chording timing with another keyboard. So that's all I wanted to present today, and thanks for tuning in. You can check out my project either on the Google Play Store under Adventure Keyboard, or on my website. There's a web version, derekmc.gitlab.io. The chord visualizer is currently available in the web version. I will be adding it to the Android app on the Play Store soon. And as my keyboard system is an experimental prototype system, it's not a system keyboard. You can't use it in other apps on Android. It's just within the app. You can use it to type, but the benefit is you can use it with hardware keyboard, such as numpad or a Bluetooth keyboard with an alternative grip. So that's the benefit of my particular system. Thanks for watching, and Let me know if you have any questions, ideas, insights, critiques. Welcome to it all. It seems like there's a great community of people interested in alternative keyboard layouts who experiment with this kind of thing the way I have started to, and that's why I wanted to share this project.